Hey guys, it's Paul here from Better Call Paul. Just wanted to put together a video today. As some of you may know, there's been some, back and forth with some different people on Blossom about covered call investing and whether or not this is a viable strategy that you could use to either build a portfolio or use it in retirement to live off of. So I just wanted to go over one of the comments that was made on Blossom and explain why I think this person is wrong, or maybe they just don't understand what covered call ETFs can do. But first and foremost, guys, I'm not a financial planner. Okay. I didn't go to university or college and study financial planning specifically. Okay. I did take general business and I did have one or two investment classes back in the 90s, but I'm not a licensed financial planner. Okay. So this is just my opinion, what I've learned from YouTube, from Blossom, from my own experiences. All right, guys. But I put together a little presentation. I'm going to try and keep this less than 10 minutes. All right, guys. So let's jump into it. So, guys, covered call ETFs are the short-term investments. Okay. So passive income investing. Okay, so passive income investing is, guys, in my opinion, is a strategy that uses income producing investments to replace income. This strategy can be used to build a portfolio over time, or it can be used to replace income in retirement. So in this video, we're going to focus on covered call ETFs. All right, guys, so here's a bit of an overview. These are the three things I want to talk about. So the history of covered call ETFs in Canada. So history, it's been around, covered call ETFs have actually been around for over 14 years, okay? The evolution, it's a growing industry within financial planning and results. So we're gonna look at how some of them have fared over time. All right, guys, so believe it or not, multiple Canadian ETFs have adopted a covered call strategy over the past decade. Guys, this is not 1 or 2 years old. But based on inception dates, here's what the data shows. Okay, BMO's first covered call ETF dates back to 2011. BMO launched its first covered call ETF in 2011, has since become the largest provider of covered call strategies in Canada. Now, Global X, which was previously Horizons, their S&P TSX 60 covered call ETF, which is CNCC now, has an inception date of March 16th, 2011. So guys, the conclusion here is that covered call ETFs are not short-term investments and have proven themselves over time. All right, these aren't something that just appeared in the last year or two. So the evolution of covered call ETFs, by that what I mean, guys, is this is a growing industry and more companies are getting into it, okay? So here's 7 in Canada, right? We already know we have BMO, Global X, CI Global Asset Management, Hamilton ETFs, Harvest Portfolio, Harvest ETFs, Horizon ETFs, and Evolve ETFs. So guys, this is not a small part of financial planning anymore. This is a growing industry. Okay, so for a couple of examples, I thought we would take a look at one from BMO because they were the first and the largest, and then take a look at one from Hamilton because it's been around for a few years, so it's got a bit of history, and also it provides a little bit of a higher percentage yield than ZWC does. So we're going to look at ZWC, which is the BMO Canadian High Dividend Covered Call ETF, and HDIV, which is Hamilton's Enhanced Multi-Sector Covered Call ETF. So guys, what I want to look at, because everybody says that, covered call ETFs are going to go to zero and they're not going to recover if there's a bear market or a recession or, something bad happens. So I thought we'll take a look at the price history of ZWC. So I could go back to November of 2017 when it was $20.56. And then in January 2020, just a little bit before COVID, it was $18.95. And then March 2020, you can see it dropped as low as $14.12. So now at this point, all the naysayers will say, well, see, now it's down to $14.12. Your yield's going to get cut. Your distribution's going to get cut. You're not going to make as much money. How will you survive? Well, you can see that today, as of August of 2025, the share price is back up to $19.06. So it recovered quite nicely since March of 2020. Now, for ZWC, the yield currently is 6.26%, and it first started paying a dividend on March 6, 2017. Okay, guys, next is HDIV. The history I could get for this one was back in August of 2021. It was at $16.81. And then in September of 2022, it hit a low of $14.20. That's the lowest I could find that it ever went. And now in August of 2025, it is up to $19, okay? And has a yield of just over 10%. And it started paying monthly in September 13th of 2021. So guys, I think this is a great example of a covered call ETF that you could have been holding for the past 4 years, paying you a great dividend, dropped down to $14 a share. You could have picked up a lot of shares at a low price. Now it's worth $19 a share. And all the while you're getting a 10% dividend yield. All right, guys. So in conclusion, covered call ETFs have been around for 14 years, and there's really no sign of this slowing down. In fact, it's a growing industry, right? It's one of the fastest growing industries in Canada and the US. And I think there's been a lot of proven results that they can do very well and produce a lot of monthly income. So guys, we've had a big debate on Blossom now for quite a while about covered call investing. And there's a lot of people who I assumed were growth investors. Maybe some of them are not growth investors. They're hybrid investors, or they're day traders, or swing traders, or I don't know what they might be. But for some reason, they constantly want to bring up some reason why covered call ETFs don't work. Another one recently said to me that I'm misleading people because I don't talk about my risk-adjusted return or my risk-adjusted yield. Guys, I buy covered call ETFs. I look at the price that I pay, and I look at the dividend that it's paying, right? The distribution at the moment. And then I calculate what my yield is. Okay. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not trying to tell you what my risk-adjusted returns are. That's getting a little bit too fancy for me. So I'm just a regular guy who's been able to build up a portfolio over the last 5 years, starting with under 200,000. Now I'm over 200,000, and every single year my dividends keep going up. That's what works for me. If that's something that you'd be interested in, then, subscribe to my channel, like it, leave some comments, and we'll keep making these videos, and we'll keep building our passive income together. All right, everybody, have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.